Welcome in, everyone. Whether you are prepping for a big meeting today, or maybe you're commuting, or you're just joining us because you're insanely curious about how the world works, we are so glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
You are right on time, honestly, for what is going to be a pretty paradigm-shifting conversation today.
Absolutely.
So when we picture a genius, there is this almost cinematic image that comes to mind, right?
Right, like the typical prodigy.
Exactly. It's 1763. We're in Salzburg, Europe, and there is a 7-year-old boy named Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Right.
And he is, like, barely tall enough to see over the top of the harpsichord.
I mean, just a tiny kid.
Yeah, but he is absolutely dazzling audiences. And he's not just playing beautifully, he has this parlor trick.
Oh, the pitch thing.
Yes. If someone in another room plays a note on any instrument, young Wolfgang can instantly shout out exactly what note it is. An A sharp, an E flat.
Yeah, any note.
Even if a clock chimes or, like, a person sneezes, he can identify the exact musical pitch of that sound.
Which is what we call perfect pitch, or absolute pitch.
Right.
And for centuries, that specific ability was considered, you know, the ultimate proof of a divine innate gift.
Like you either have it or you don't.
Exactly. The assumption was that you were just born with the biological wiring for perfect pitch. There was no middle ground, considering only about 1 in every 10,000 people ever naturally displays it.
It genuinely feels like magic. But there is a twist to this story that completely changes the narrative.
And it's a huge twist.
It really is. So in 2014, a Japanese psychologist named Ayako Sakakibara conducted this months-long study at a music school in Tokyo.
Right.
She took 24 normal children, aged 2 to 6, and put them through a very specific daily training course playing piano chords.
Because she wanted to see if the magic could be taught, essentially.
Exactly. So do you know how many of those normal, randomly selected kids develop perfect pitch by the end of the study?
Well, I do, but it's still shocking.
24. All of them. Every single one.
Which, I mean, completely rewrites our fundamental understanding of human potential.
It really does.
Because if you look at the mechanics of what happened in Tokyo, it turns out the true gift wasn't perfect pitch itself. The real gift, the one we all actually share, is the incredible universal adaptability of the human brain.
Yes.
The ability to actually develop perfect pitch with the right training. It actually reminds me of the NBA legend Ray Allen.
Oh yeah, incredible shooter.
Right. He holds records for some of the greatest three-point shooting in basketball history, and he notoriously hated it when commentators would say, like, that God blessed him with a beautiful jump shot.
Oh really?
Yeah, he felt it was a massive insult. He would tell people, you know, don't undermine the work I've put in every day. Not some days. Every day.
Wow. And that is exactly our mission for you on this deep dive.
Yep.
We are taking a stack of sources today, primarily anchored by this incredible book, Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise, by Anders Ericsson and Robert Poole.
Fantastic source material.
It really is. Yeah. And the goal is to fundamentally shatter the myth of natural talent.
Because the sources back Ray Allen up entirely here. If we look closely at the science, giftedness, in the way we traditionally understand it as this fixed biological trait, is just a myth.
It's totally made up.
Right. The real universal human gift is our brain and body's incredible adaptability. So today, we're going to unpack exactly how you can harness that adaptability to create potential that literally did not exist in you yesterday.
I love that. But to get there and, you know, to actually build those expert level skills, we first have to understand why most of us just stop improving at the things we already do every day.
Yeah, the plateau.
Right. Think about learning to drive a car. You start out as a teenager, you don't know what you're doing, so you take some lessons.
And you're terrified.
Exactly. You focus really hard. Your hands are gripping the steering wheel at 10 and 2. But eventually, you figure out how to merge onto the highway without causing an accident.
You reach an acceptable level of competence.
Yeah, and then you just sort of coast. You reach what scientists call automaticity. You no longer think about driving, you just do it while, I don't know, drinking coffee or talking to a friend.
And that coasting phase is what the sources refer to as naive practice.
Naive practice.
Right. It's this assumption that simply doing something repeatedly is going to somehow make you better at it. You think, I drove to work again today, so I am a more experienced driver.
Sure, that feels logical.
It does, but naive practice is a trap. In fact, the research reveals a shocking statistic that totally flies in the face of common sense.
Okay, what is it?
Doctors or drivers who have been doing their jobs for 20 years are often actually worse than those who have only been doing it for 5 years.
Wait, hold on. Let's unpack this.
I know, it sounds crazy.
It does. If I do something every single day for 2 decades, I should be a master. How can 20 years of experience possibly make someone worse at their job?
Because automated abilities deteriorate when they aren't actively challenged.
I see.
Once a skill becomes automatic, you stop thinking about the mechanics of it. You aren't addressing your weaknesses anymore.
You're just on autopilot.
Exactly. Think about a tennis player who hits their backhand with a slight mechanical flaw. If they just play casual games with their friends every weekend for 20 years, they aren't fixing the flaw.
They're just cementing it.
Perfectly cementing that bad habit into their muscle memory. Yeah. Overcoming that automaticity requires a very specific, active methodology. The sources call this purposeful practice.
Okay, I understand the theory, but how do you actively challenge something that feels like biologically hardwired?
What do you mean?
Like short-term memory. We are always told that human short-term memory is strictly limited to about 7 to 9 items.
Right, the magic number 7.
Yeah, that's supposedly why local phone numbers are 7 digits long. You can't just decide to remember more, right?
Well, that was the assumption for a long time, but let's look at the story of Steve Faloon. In the 1970s, Steve was a typical college undergrad hired for a psychology experiment to test the absolute limits of random digit memorization.
Just a normal guy.
Totally normal. And true to form, Steve hit a wall at about 8 or 9 digits. He was ready to quit, telling the researchers he had reached his biological limit.
Makes sense.
But the researchers pushed him to use purposeful practice. And by the end of the experiment, Steve could reliably memorize 82 random digits heard at a rate of 1 per second.
82 random digits in a row.
Oh.
That is staggering.
It's wild.
And the sources point out he didn't do it by just staring at the numbers longer or gripping the desk and trying harder. He used a highly structured approach that really serves as the blueprint for purposeful practice.
Right, there are 4 main pillars here.
Yeah, let's break them down.
Okay.
First, he had highly specific goals. He wasn't just trying to, quote, get a better memory. His goal was just to remember 1 more digit than he did the day before.
Baby steps.
Exactly. And second was intense focus. Yeah. On the audio recordings of Steve's sessions, he isn't relaxed at all. He is chanting, pumping himself up, banging on the table in pure concentration.
He was working hard. Then third is constant feedback.
Right. When he dropped a number, he analyzed exactly which grouping of digits tripped him up so he could fix his strategy for the next round. It wasn't just guessing.
He knew exactly where he failed. And fourth, and this is crucial, he was constantly operating out of his comfort zone.
The comfort zone.
Yeah, the comfort zone is essentially where dreams of expertise go to die.
That's a great way to put it.
Consider Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
He was one of the most brilliant minds of his era, and he absolutely loved chess. He played for over 50 years, frequently against some of the best players in Europe.
So he must have been amazing.
You'd think so, but he never became a chess master. He remained entirely average.
Really. After 50 years.
Yeah. Why? Because he never left his comfort zone. He just played for fun. He never studied the games afterward, he never analyzed his specific mistakes, and he never pushed his boundaries. Purposeful practice is the constant, deliberate act of pushing the boundary of what you can currently do.
Okay, I get the psychology of pushing past the plateau, but it feels like there has to be a physical ceiling at some point.
How so?
Like, no amount of practicing my jump shot is going to make me 10 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
Does pushing past the comfort zone actually change anything physically, or is it just a mental trick?
Oh no, it causes profound physical changes. To understand why purposeful practice works, we have to look at the biology of homeostasis.
Homeostasis, right.
Right, homeostasis is the deep biological desire of your body and your cells to maintain stability.
Just keeping things normal.
Exactly. Your body wants to keep a steady temperature, a steady heart rate, a steady energy level. When you go for a light jog, your body handles it easily. It stays in homeostasis.
Okay.
But if you push yourself so hard that your normal metabolic systems fail, say, you sprint up a hill until your leg muscles burn and completely run out of oxygen.
Until you're totally exhausted.
Right. Your cells literally panic. They are forced out of homeostasis. And to prevent that dangerous state from ever happening again, your body activates dormant genes to build new physical tissue.
Like building new muscle.
Yes. Or new capillaries to handle the stress next time.
Ah, so you have to literally push the system to failure to force it to adapt.
Precisely.
If we apply that to the brain, It's like a city's road network.
Okay, I like that.
If the traffic, meaning the cognitive demand, is light, the small local streets handle it just fine. But if you consistently overload those small streets with heavy, complex traffic, the city is forced to pave a massive multi-lane highway to handle the load.
Right.
The brain literally builds new neural connections.
That is an excellent way to visualize neuroplasticity. We see this exact highway construction in the famous London Cabbie study.
Oh, I love this study.
It's so good. London's streets are notoriously chaotic. There is no logical grid system at all.
It's a mess.
Yeah. To become a licensed cab driver, you have to pass this legendary test called the knowledge.
Right. And it requires memorizing, what, 25,000 streets?
25,000 streets within a 6-mile radius of Charing Cross. It takes years of intense study.
Wow.
So, neuroscientist Eleanor Maguire conducted MRI brain scans on prospective cab drivers before they started studying, and then 4 years later.
And what'd you find?
The trainees who successfully passed the test literally grew larger posterior hippocampi.
That's the navigation center of the brain, right?
Exactly. The brain tissue physically bulked up to handle the mental traffic.
That is wild. It's like a bodybuilder's biceps, but it's gray matter.
Yeah. And significantly, the trainees who failed the test or who quit the program early showed absolutely no growth in that brain region.
So the effort is what caused the growth.
The physical change, the building of that new neural highway, only happened to those who push through the intense, sustained cognitive strain.
That makes perfect sense.
We see this everywhere in the sources. People who are blind and learn to read Braille actually rewire their synaptic pathways. They repurpose their visual cortex to process touch from their fingertips.
The brain just realigns its real estate.
Exactly.
There's also that fascinating study with older people experiencing declining vision, presbyopia.
Yes, the vision training.
They were given intense contrast training, staring at blurry, low-contrast images until they could spot patterns. And their physical eyeballs didn't heal, but their brains built new pathways to de-blur the incoming signals.
Right.
And they could read newspapers without glasses again. So the brain physically changes when pushed out of homeostasis. But I mean, what is it actually building? What is traveling on those new neural highways?
It is building what psychologists call mental representations. And these are the true secret weapon of expert performance.
Mental representation.
Yes. A mental representation is a pre-existing conceptual structure that allows you to process large amounts of information quickly and effectively.
Okay, let's look at Alexander Alekhine to understand this.
Perfect example.
In 1924, he walked into a New York hotel room and played 26 simultaneous games of chess.
26.
Yeah, 26. But here is the kicker. He was blindfolded.
Unbelievable.
He sat in a chair, staring at the wall, while an announcer called out the moves from the 26 different boards behind him. He had to keep track of 832 individual chess pieces entirely in his head for 12 hours.
And he won almost all the games.
He did.
Now, the immediate assumption here is that Alekhine must have had a photographic memory.
Right, how else could you do that?
But he didn't. Chess masters don't memorize individual pieces on a grid. They use mental representations, specifically chunks, which are meaningful patterns of pieces interacting.
Chunks? Okay.
A famous study by researchers Simon and Chase proved this. They showed chess masters a realistic mid-game board setup for just 5 seconds.
Just 5 seconds.
Just 5 seconds. And the masters could recreate the board perfectly from memory because their mental representations allowed them to see the whole strategic narrative of the board at a glance.
Oh, I see.
But when the researchers placed the exact same number of pieces on the board in a totally random, illogical arrangement.
A setup that would never happen in a real game.
Right. The chess masters failed miserably. They couldn't remember where the pieces were any better than a complete novice.
Because they aren't memorizing raw data.
Exactly.
They are using mental representations to completely sidestep the strict limits of short-term memory. It's like reading, when you look at a book, you don't read every individual letter, C-A-T.
Right.
You just see the word cat, and your brain instantly conceptualizes the animal. This applies to every field. There's a great example from a medical column by Dr. Lisa Sanders.
Oh yeah, the Horner's syndrome case.
Yes. A police officer comes into the clinic with 2 symptoms. A severe earache.
Yeah.
And one pupil that is noticeably smaller than the other, which is a condition called Horner's syndrome. Novice doctors or, urgent care doctors rushing through a shift, they hear earache and instantly jump to an ear infection. They completely ignore the eye because it doesn't fit their simple, limited mental map.
But an expert diagnostician has a vastly superior mental representation of the human body. They don't just see isolated symptoms, they juggle all the facts simultaneously.
Right, they see the whole picture.
Exactly. They look at the earache, they look at the small pupil, and they search their mental database for a structural pattern that connects the two seemingly unrelated issues.
And what did they find?
The expert asks the patient, have you been lifting heavy weights recently? And it turns out the patient had. The expert realizes the heavy lifting caused a microscopic tear in the carotid artery in the neck.
Wow.
Yeah, that swelling pressed against both the sympathetic nerve pathway traveling up to the eye, causing the small pupil, and the nerves branching to the ear, causing the pain.
That is brilliant. The mental representation is what allows them to see the hidden connections. But, I mean, what does this mean for you, the listener? If you are sitting at a desk doing marketing, or you're a project manager, you are not diagnosing rare vascular diseases.
True.
And you're definitely not playing 26 games of blindfold chess. So how does a mental representation help someone in a normal job?
Well, it dictates the entire quality of your output. Take writing a report or a business proposal.
Go ahead.
A novice writer engages in what we call knowledge telling. They sit down and just write whatever ideas pop into their head until they run out of things to say.
Just a brain dump.
Right. It's linear, unstructured, and often really confusing to read. But an expert writer engages in knowledge transforming.
Knowledge transforming.
Before they write a single word, they build a massive mental representation of the document. They know the core argument, the likely counter-arguments the reader will have, and the emotional pacing required to persuade them.
They have a map.
Exactly. As they write, they use that mental representation to constantly monitor their own work, evaluating whether the text is actually achieving the goal, and they adjust the structure on the fly. The mental representation guides the performance.
Okay, so if detailed mental representations are the key to actually being good at our jobs, how do we get them? What is the systematic way to build them?
We have to upgrade from purposeful practice to the absolute gold standard of learning, which is deliberate practice.
Deliberate practice.
Yes. And the most famous study demonstrating deliberate practice took place at the Berlin University of the Arts. Researchers looked at the violin students there and divided them into 3 tiers.
Okay, what were the tiers?
The good students, who would likely become music teachers, the better students, who would play in professional orchestras, and the best students, who are on track to become elite international soloists.
And they looked for what made them different.
Right, and it wasn't innate talent. It wasn't who started playing earlier or who had richer parents. It was the accumulated hours of solitary, highly focused practice before the age of 18.
The numbers are pretty stark here. The good students had accumulated around 3,420 hours.
Right.
The better students hit 5,301 hours. And the best students, the elite soloists, averaged 7,410 hours of solitary practice.
Massive difference.
Now, I have to admit something here. When I first read about this, I totally bought into the Malcolm Gladwell idea. I thought this was just the 10,000 hour rule.
Oh, right, of course.
Just put in 10,000 hours to anything and you become a master.
Well, that is precisely the myth, the sources for this deep dive dismantle. Gladwell popularized the notion that achieving mastery requires 10,000 hours of practice, but it's a massive oversimplification.
How so?
First of all, the 10,000 hours Gladwell cited from that Berlin study was just an average of the best students by the time they turned 20.
Just an average.
Right, it wasn't a magical finish line. Some had less, some had more. And they certainly hadn't mastered the violin at age 20. True international competition winners usually don't peak until around age 30, after maybe 25,000 hours of practice.
Wow, 25,000. And second, it has to be deliberate practice, not just time spent doing the activity.
This is key.
Gladwell famously used the Beatles playing clubs in Hamburg, Germany, as his prime example of the 10,000-hour rule. But biographers have shown the Beatles actually played closer to 1,100 hours in Hamburg.
Right, way less.
And more importantly, playing 8-hour sets of rock and roll cover songs for drunk audiences is not deliberate practice. It's performance.
Exactly.
Performing live doesn't systematically build the mental representations required for their true underlying skill, which was songwriting. John Lennon and Paul McCartney didn't become legendary songwriters by playing Chuck Berry covers over and over.
That is the vital distinction. Deliberate practice requires stepping out of the performance mindset and stepping into a targeted, corrective training mindset. And true deliberate practice has strict criteria. It requires a well-developed field with objective measurements of success. And crucially, you must have a teacher or a coach who has already achieved this high level of expertise and can design specific training tasks tailored to your weaknesses.
Which brings us back to you, the listener. How do you do this if you are a project manager or a software salesperson?
Right.
There isn't exactly a centuries-old tradition of coaching for middle management. You can't just, manage harder to get better. If you are in an ambiguous field, how do you hack this system?
You have to construct your own deliberate training environment.
Okay, how?
The sources show you can apply the principles by finding the top performers in your specific field and reverse engineering their mental representation.
Give me an example.
Let's look at Feng Wang. Years after Steve Faloon memorized his 82 digits, Feng Wang wanted to compete in the World Memory Championships. He didn't just guess how to do it, he aggressively studied the underlying methods of people like Steve. He analyzed how experts used memory palaces associating numbers with physical locations in their mind.
Right, the specific technique.
Exactly. He decoded the structure of their success, built his own specific training regimen, and ended up memorizing 300 digits in a single go.
So if I am a manager wanting to improve, I don't just try to have quote-unquote better meetings.
No, that's naive practice.
Right. Instead, I identify the absolute best manager in my company. I ask them to let me sit in on their meetings. I take notes on exactly how they handle conflict or structure the agenda.
Yes.
Then I isolate one specific skill, say, keeping the team on topic. I try their technique in my next meeting. I record it or ask a trusted peer for brutal specific feedback, and I adjust.
Exactly.
I'm creating a proxy coach and setting objective measurements where there were none.
Precisely. You are identifying the mental representations of the expert and deliberately forcing your brain to adopt them through trial and feedback. You are stopping the naive practice of just showing up to work every day expecting to organically improve.
We have been on quite a journey today, and the overarching theme is incredibly clear.
Very clear.
We absolutely must abandon the myth of natural talent. It is an excuse that holds us back from our actual potential.
Totally.
We have to reject the comfort and complacency of naive practice, where we just go through the motions. If we want to achieve greatness, we have to force our brains and bodies out of homeostasis. We have to embrace the struggle, build our own coaching environments, and deliberately build the mental representations that allow us to see the hidden matrix of our chosen fields.
Well said. And I want to leave you with one final empowering idea to mull over today.
Let's hear it.
We have established that human potential is not a fixed cup waiting to be filled. It is an expandable vessel, and its size is shaped entirely by your deliberate effort. Furthermore, science has not yet found the absolute biological limits of the human brain's adaptability. So ask yourself, what is a skill, a dream, or a career path that you have completely written off as impossible for you, simply because you believed you lacked the natural talent?
Wow.
What could you actually achieve if you realize that the only things you are missing right now are the right mental representations and the deliberate practice to build them?
That is such a profound reframing of what we are capable of.
Yeah.
You are not stuck with the brain or the abilities you have today. You have the exact same fundamental gift that a 7-year-old Mozart had at that harpsichord.
Exactly.
You have the gift of infinite adaptability. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Do yourself a favor today. Take just one step out of your comfort zone and see what you can build.